We have Jordan McFadden, who is a star offensive lineman out of the University of Clemson, joining us today, fresh off Pro Day, was at the Combine, was at East-West Shrine. It has been a busy few months for Mr. McFadden, but Jordan, appreciate you for jumping in, man. How's everything going?
Yeah, man, everything's going well. I'm excited to be here today for sure.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Jordan, I want to definitely ask about a few of the cool things that you've been able to do this process, but I want to start off just a little bit on the Clemson career, man, because, look, we saw the Deshaun Watson era before you got there, right? Really started to get things going and be one of the premier programs in college football. You were a part of that 2018 recruiting class, I believe, with Trevor Lawrence and those cats, right? So You were a big reason for why it has been sustainable, right? Why it continues to be as good as it is. Can you talk to me about, just kind of coming into Clemson with those high expectations and just maybe a couple of favorite parts about your Clemson career?
Right, yeah. Coming into Clemson, they had won a national championship, 2 years before. So, it was already kind of the standard of, winning, getting to the playoffs, winning big games like that. So, when we came in, I came in with, Justin Ross, Trevor, Xavier Thomas, Kate, studs, a bunch of, great players. So, we had, kind of in our mind what we wanted to do, what we felt like we could do. And then we also had we joined a great team, a great group of seniors, great leaders, great young players with, Christian Wilkins and all those guys. So they made it a lot easier for us as freshmen coming in. They made the transition easy, and definitely, grateful for those older guys that were there to kind of help us through that. But I had a ton of favorite moments at Clemson, but I mean, it's hard to beat winning a national championship, being on top of as good as you can get in college football, that's where you are, so to be able to, experience that. And that's something so many people don't ever experience, it's something that I would cherish forever for sure.
Having been on a team with Trevor, who was considered to be this amazing prospect, which I'm sure that was strange to be around the guy that everyone was talking about. But at the same time, this past year, you shared a field with another young quarterback who's getting a lot of praise in Cade Klubnik. Are there any similarities maybe you see from those guys and what Cade can bring to the table in the future for Clemson?
For sure. I think the first thing I noticed kind of when I met Cade was he's literally a natural leader. And it's something that I felt being around Trevor. Trevor came in as a freshman, he didn't overstep boundaries, he stood in the freshman's place, but he was still a leader. He was a starting quarterback. He led, by example and, vocally. And that's how I feel about Cade. Watching him just come in and, kind of the way he came in towards the end of the season as well, he's a leader, the way he carries himself, the way, he leads by example, he's a verbal leader. So, the two biggest things that I noticed between those two is just the leadership qualities they possess.
Jordan, I know that you have been a mainstay on that offensive line, both at right tackle and left tackle during your career, obviously for several years now. I want to ask, because I feel like it's one of the biggest cliches in the world sometimes for people to say, oh, the best defensive line I see every day in practice is the best I'm going to see every week on a regular basis, right? But in your case, that's true. I mean, it's not false, right? You're going against Brian Bresee and Miles Murphy and KJ Henry, and I know you're playing a lot more scout team than first team all the time. But what is playing against guys like that? How does that make you better?
Yeah, man. Being me and Miles is playing my side, so me and him went against each other pretty much every day we were at practice. So being able to go against a guy who will be a first rounder like that, it prepares you. Very rarely did I see anyone as good as him on game day. So walking into the games on Saturday, I knew that, I was prepared for this moment. I've been going against one of the best defensive ends in the country, each and every day for the last 3 years. So just walking out on Saturdays, knowing I was prepared for this moment, and, the hardest part was done in practice, I felt like.
Well, and Jordan, getting into a little bit of the draft process, because I mentioned a couple of things that you've been able to do, right? You have a successful career at Clemson, and then almost immediately you're out in Vegas for the East-West Shrine Bowl, right? So can you take me through just that experience getting out in Vegas and what you felt like that brought to, just your development as far as continuing to get better as a player?
Yeah, I mean, going to Vegas, I had no idea what to expect at all. And I didn't play or practice. I had kind of had a minor injury in the bowl game, so I just sat myself out for, precautionary reasons. But being able to be down there, first of all, I met a bunch of great guys, around the country, just there's tons of good players, but also great people from so many different teams. But being able to be down there, interview with a bunch of different teams, pretty much every team, and being able to go through that process, I felt like was important for me. I feel like being able to talk the game of football, something you need to be able to do to play at that level. So, and I feel like that's what I'm good at. So, being able to do that around a bunch of scouts, I feel like it helped me a lot for sure.
For your training process, I know that all is very grueling, but where were you training at? Maybe who were some of the other prospects in the class that you were working with on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I was out in Frisco, Texas, training with Duke. Yeah, it was a ton.
What was that like?
Yeah, no, it was really fun. Like, it was definitely hard, like as it's supposed to be, but I was around 15 or 16 guys, and so like we had a good group. We got closer and closer each week, each day. So yeah, I was out there with guys like, Peter from Northwestern, Tyler Steen from Alabama, Jalen from Maryland. Like there was everybody there was, just great players. So it was fun to be around, be able to, compete and push each other for sure.
Yeah, and I just had an interview with Steve Avila this morning too, and I think he was down there with Duke as well. Awesome, man. Yep. So you had some good competition down there.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Definitely.
Love it. Well, then Jordan, obviously you saw a lot of those guys when you went up to Indianapolis for the NFL Scouting Combine, and I mean, you ran sub-5 in the 40, man. Obviously, the training was doing pretty good from the athletic side of everything. What was that experience like, man? Just being up in Indianapolis. For me personally, when I was growing up and before I realized that I was never going to play in the NFL, right? I was like, I want to be in Indianapolis one day and run my 40. What was that experience like, man?
Yeah, like, I didn't really understand how big of a moment it was until we were walking to the stadium, like get ready to run our 40s and, get on the field. So, as we're kind of entering the stadium, there's fans everywhere.
Yep.
And it was just like a very like crazy out of body experience for me. Like I had no idea, it's something that you always dream of, but like to be able to live that moment was special for me. And then, I had no idea what I was going to run officially. Like we didn't run a full 40. They didn't want to hurt anybody's hamstring or anything. So like, I wasn't really sure. I knew I wanted to run sub-5, but I wasn't sure what I was going to run. But after I ran, I was really nervous walking up to the line, like super nervous. But after I ran, had no clue walking back. And then one of the guys I trained with, his girlfriend was watching the combine, so she was texting him the times. He was like, "You ran sub-5," and I was like, I almost started screaming. I was so happy, and it was just.
So, is there no feedback
experience.
though in the stadium? Does it not tell you the time? Because you always see guys looking up and looking around, and you can never tell if they know what the speed was. Are you relying on somebody texting you? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So on the second one, they'll show the time. The second 40, they'll show the time. But on the first one, they don't show it at all. So you run it, you're walking back, and you're literally like, you have no clue what's going on, what you ran or anything. And then luckily he was there to tell me. And then, you get 10 or 15 minutes, while everybody else is running. So you go check your phone. And then like my phone was blowing up. Just everybody was like, yeah, like I was telling everybody I wanted to run sub-5, but to be able to actually do it was really cool.
What was the rest of that experience like in Indy, Jordan? Because for people that don't know, I've been to Indianapolis to cover it a couple times now. And for players, man, it's not just the on the field stuff you see, right? Like you're getting up early in the like 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes for medicals. You're doing the team meetings. It's a grueling couple days, man. Some insight into that.
Yeah. A lot of scouts I was talking to out there said this was the best it's been for players. So I couldn't imagine kind of what the earlier groups of the guys before me went through. But for me, like I was in the hospital for medicals from 10 to 10. Well, probably, about 10 in the morning till 3. I know some guys who were there from 10 till 8 at night. Like,
oh my God.
It could be an all-day thing. And then the next day I had to, go get another MRI. So I had to wait another 2 hours. And then you got, outside of medicals, then you just got meetings with like different teams, which – the first day we went in there to meet with teams, and we were in there for like 4 hours. So it's just a lot, not a lot of downtime, kind of keep you busy. I guess, they want to see how you perform kind of, I guess, when you're not, sleeping at your best or whatever it may be. So definitely, cool experience, but very busy for sure, tiring.
And what was it like getting back to the pro day here, man? Because obviously you're in a more comfortable environment. Right. You get to see some of your guys again that you've been away from for a couple months. What was that like?
Yeah, no, I was super happy to just be back like in Clemson around, the younger guys who were on the team with me last year, years before. So to be around them, and then obviously the guys that, I came out with, KJ, Davis Allen, those guys, just to, be back in an environment where we all know each other very well. We're cheering for each other. Like Pro Day was a great environment. And, those guys and a bunch of, younger guys who are still there came and showed support too. So it was just good to be back home.
I feel like a lot of us in the media have like a foregone conclusion of certain guys that maybe transitioned positions on the offensive line. You played primarily at tackle. It seems like the expectation that everyone's throwing out there is that you might end up playing inside a guard. Where, one, do you see yourself succeeding in the NFL? And then two, what has maybe the feedback been from NFL evaluators, NFL team personnel? Have they told you anything on where they see you fitting best in the NFL?
Yeah. So, some teams have told me, we think you can play tackle. Some teams I see you moving inside to guard, and then I've even snapped a little bit. And kind of the way I look at it now is the more you can do, the more valuable you are, So being able to play tackle at a high level here for so long, have tons of tape, and then I feel like, I feel super comfortable transitioning at guard. I worked at Clemson at practice a lot against, great D-line, as y'all said. And then, for the last 2 months, not 2 months or 2.5 months, I've been snapping as well. So just being able to do all three, I think will help me. And then as far as where I see myself, I feel confident that I can play tackle in the NFL, but I also feel confident that anywhere you put me across that line, I'll succeed and do well. So, I don't really care where they put me. I just want to, play the game, and, I'll be happy with that.
Well, because Jordan, you're such a unique player, right? Because like you might only be a bit over 6'2", but you got 34-inch arms, you got an 82-inch wingspan. Like you're very long, and then obviously you're a good athlete in general. Has that always been something that's kind of come natural to you, be able to play in space because of the length you have, the athleticism you have?
Yeah, it came to me like at a young age, even, really before I started playing football. Like I was always just a big kid, but, I love playing basketball. So having that background, like that helped me a ton, just with my feet being able to move. So I started playing basketball at a young age, and, luckily because of that, it's helped me, be successful at football.
I know every offensive lineman has an answer to this question. Is there a particular play that when it's called that you get excited? Maybe if you're kicking out a defensive end or something along those lines, is there a specific play that you love to be called for whatever reason it might be?
Yeah, I would say my number one play that I love is, we ran a reverse, and it's been on like social media, but we run a reverse where like, I step down a little bit, and then, kind of go back out and try to get on the corner or something like that. That's one. And then we also have another play where it's kind of like tight end will pin down, and I'll pull around for the corner as well. Just getting out in space, getting on those little guys. Like that's always been fun for me.
So you like beating up on the DBs is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
That's funny. I was about to say the same thing, man. You're picking on the little guys, but it's all right, man. I love it.
Well, those guys talk the most crap, so like it's kind of deserved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's true. I mean, most defensive backs don't even put their mouthpiece in because they're just too busy talking all the time. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like I've played in games where like me and the DB are like nowhere near each other. That I'll just hear them across the field just talking. I'm like, bro, like, what are you doing?
That's so funny, man. I know, Jordan, now only a few weeks away, and I know you've already been meeting with teams, but are there any top 30 visits that you have set up with some teams that you can kind of tell us about?
Yeah, I know in April I'll be going to Chicago. I'll be in Detroit, and we're still working on setting up something with Seattle. So those are the three I have right now. Who knows what else will come, at this point. I don't really know what any day holds, at this point. My phone just, I'll get a text from one team or another team. So just on standby for, whatever comes next.
That's what your agent's for, man. It's like you set the schedule and I'll go where you tell me to go. I love that, literally. Man. Well, Jordan, I know we're only a few weeks away, and I know that it's going to be a great moment for you and your family, obviously. But can you just talk a little bit about just how long NFL's been a dream, man? I'm sure this is probably a childhood dream that's about to come true for you.
Yeah, for sure. Just talking about it, like with my family, and even with, you know, some of my close friends here at Clemson, like it doesn't feel real at all.
Yeah.
You know, like just playing football at Clemson, like you think your time there is never going to end in college. Like that's how I kind of felt. I was like, yeah, I've been here forever. Like this is never going to end, you know. But there does come a time in a day, a time in a place where, you know, things come to an end. And, you know, for me, it's just, you know, trying to enjoy this journey up to, you know, the NFL. You know, a lot of people, you know, don't have that opportunity. And a lot of people, you know, once they get that opportunity, they don't make the most of it. So the biggest thing I've been trying to do is, you know, with any opportunity I have, just make the most of it. And, you know, just make those around me, you know, who supported me proud.
I love it, man. And a part of that support system, my last question for you is just what's the plans for draft day and just how looking forward are you to the fact that you get to spend that with the people that have been supporting you for so long?
Yeah, definitely gonna, you know, have a little get together, you know, my close family and friends. And, you know, I'm super excited, like just to be able to, you know, just a little weight off my shoulders, just a little bit, but to be able to share that moment with like the people who once again been there for me and, you know, just supported me, you know, from the moment I've started, you know, playing the game. Like it'll be special to me. It'll be probably some tears might be shed. It'll be a special moment for me for sure.
I love it. Again, joined by Jordan McFadden, star offensive lineman out of University of Clemson, 2023 NFL draft prospect, only a few weeks away from the big day. Jordan, we appreciate you again, man. I know it's been super hectic, but thank you so much for giving us some time today, man, and best of luck the rest of the process.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jordan.
Yep.